Radha Madhava Kunja Mati Kunja Krishna Balrama Giridhara Gopi Janavallabha Giridvaradhana Girijaya Gopi Janavallabha Giridvaradhana Yashodanandana Varjanana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Varjanana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Varjanana Yashodanandana Please know the Bhagavan Samshya Prabhupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Himsa Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kundi Govardhan ki Rajhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Mayapur Navi Dham ki Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki Lanka Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki Shri Bhakti Tulsi Maharani ki Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Nidai Gaur Premanandi all glories to Summer Devotee, all glories to Summer Devotee, all glories to Summer Devotee, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana-Mirandasya Jnana-Panachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karaniham Dadati Swapadantikam Manderam Shri Guru Shri Yutana Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvanam Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Madanam Saganam Lalita Shri Vishakam Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you very much on Wednesday evening, coming entirely from different places. So far we have started with Srimad Bhagavatam. The sages assembling at forest of Naimisharanya, facing Sutta Goswami and Vyasas and asking many questions to him. Basically starting with 6 questions, and we concluded last week how Sutta Goswami concluded answering the sixth question by saying that after the departure of Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam is the place where Dharma has taken shelter into. Krishna is Sudhama Pagati, Jnana Dharma, Jnana Dharma Jnana Vibhisa, Kalau Nashya Dishamiva, Purana Ko Adhanavita. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Puran which has risen like the sun in this age of Kali. So, after hearing this and the answer to different questions they have put forward, Shaunaka Rishi starts inquiring further. Now, with more questions coming. Of course, he has requested before only to describe the different incarnations of the Lord. So that will be coming, but now he's asking some questions. So before he starts putting questions, he explains to Sutta Goswami that we have been assembled here to perform the prolonged sacrifice. They're communicating Sutta Goswami and they start glorifying Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami, Sharat Rishi primarily on behalf of all the sages glorifying Sutta Goswami. He is referring Sutta Goswami with few titles. He's actually referring to him as that, oh Sutta Goswami, you are Vriddha. Vriddha means elderly. Now, of course, we know Vriddha means elderly, but elderly doesn't mean only who is elder by age. Like sometimes, old people will say, you see, I have not grayed my hair like this only. Listen to me. So Raghavan Maharaj was one time they were making fun. He said, as if, some old people they think, as if they have, grayed their hair by putting some ointments or some masala on the head, and that's how they have imbibed a lot of experience. Even if you leave a person in lunatic asylum, right, and due course of time they are also grey old, white, right? Doesn't mean that he is very elderly. No. Age-wise he will be elderly, yes. But just because somebody has grey hair does not mean he is elderly. Who is elderly? Who actually Vidur actually explains this in Mahabharata. He's telling Dhritarashtra, one should not go to assembly where there are no elderly people. One should not go to a meeting. People generally have a lot of meetings. One should not go to a meeting where there are no elderly people. And if you who is elderly, who always speaks truth. And what is truth? That which is spoken in terms of scriptures. That is truth. So, and in other words, elderly person is one who learned in the scriptures and he speaks only from the scriptures. He does not just throw some whimsical ideas. I remember one elderly person I had met in New York. So he was saying, oh, you are going to ISKCON, you are being befooled. Because, dharma, this all religion and all has been invented by weak people. And I said, okay, how is that? And he started narrating also. He said, one time there was a very strong man, he used to bully all the weak people. And so one weak person thought, how can I control this strong person? So he came up with the idea of God. Oh, there's the most powerful person, God. And I'm his messenger. If you don't listen to me, God will destroy you. And he went on and on. See, this is how religion has come into practice. This is how, there's no God actually, there's no religion. And I said, okay, where did you get this idea from? He said, I read in a book. So people read any nonsensical book, they come up with any nonsensical idea, right? So that's not elderly, that's not vriddha. Because even if a person doesn't do anything, he will grow old, right? That doesn't mean he become vriddha, he become elderly. Okay, elderly means one who's learning the scriptures, okay, and who has practiced the teachings of scriptures in his life, live by those teachings. He actually lived that. And they are referring to him as the Kulapati. Kulapati means the leader of the assembly. Kula means generally family, and Pati means leader. So one who is actually leader of the family, but in this case, he is a sannyasi, so he doesn't have any family, right? So they are referring to Kulapati means who is actually the leader of sages or saintly persons. You know, because that's a very grave responsibility. Becoming Kulapati or becoming the leader is a very, very grave responsibility. One should not assume that responsibility, without understanding the gravity of it. Actually, in Ramayana, in Uttara Kanda, there is a beautiful instance described about the gravity one should have for accepting the position of a leader. So one time, when Lord Ramchandra, he had come back from forest and he had become the king now. Ramaraja established. So one time, in those days, the king was easily accessible by anyone. Anyone wanted to meet the king, needed some justice, all they could do is just go at the palace door and, tell the guard that I want to meet the king, I need some justice. And they would be allowed to go and meet the king. So, a dog came to the palace of Lord Ramchandra. And this dog was bleeding, his head was cracked, the blood was coming from his head. And he told the soldiers, I want to meet Lord Ramchandra. So they escorted him inside. And Lord Ramchandra, when he saw the dog in such precarious condition, bleeding from the head, he said, what happened to you? And the dog said, my dear king, my dear lord, I was simply walking on the street and one Brahmana, for no reason, I didn't bark at him, I didn't even look at him, he just came and hit me on my head with a stick. So, oh, really? A Brahmana did that? Yes. He told soldiers, go get this Brahmana. So Brahmana was brought to the court in front of Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra said, and as soon as Brahmana saw the bleeding dog, he became afraid. Now he understood. This is Ramaraja, even if I beat the dog, I can get severely punished. Not like the modern politicians, right? They pretend to be protecting human beings, but they send animals to slaughterhouse. Take this slaughterhouse, systematically killing the animals. Not like that. Every living entity born in a certain kingdom, they are called praja. So even an animal is praja. They should be protected by the king. So, Ramchandra, when the Brahmana was brought in front of him, Brahmana became scared, seeing the dog bleeding. He understood the dog is complaining about him. So, Lord Ramchandra demanded explanation. My dear sir, why did you beat him? And the Brahmana was actually very, what do you call it, uncontrolled in his senses. He said, he gave a very silly excuse. He said, my dear Lord, I was begging, I didn't get anything in begging, and this dog came my way. I just got angry and hit him on him. Typical people from Kaliuga, right? If they get frustrated, they can take out their frustration on anyone, right? So, but that was not the case in the previous ages. This Brahmana was kind of an exception. So, Lord Ramchandra, he became angry. So, how can you beat the dog just because you are upset, you are angry? The Brahman started begging, my dear Lord, please forgive me, please forgive me. So Lord Ramchandra said, no, you take punishment. Return to dog. What kind of punishment you want for him? Okay, he has offended you, he has beaten you.
So tell me, whatever punishment you want, we'll give him that punishment. So the dog said, well, my dear Lord, in your kingdom, in such and such place, there is a big temple, matha. So I want that this Brahma should be made into the Madhadish. You should become the temple president. And Lord Ramchandra said, oh, that's what you want? He said, yes. So Lord Ramchandra sent a message to the temple authority. He said, from today, this Brahma will be the temple president. So they brought the elephant, the temple had elephant, they brought the elephant, they made the Brahma sit on the elephant with great pomp and with great musical instrument, they took him as a Madhadish. And all the ministers, they were scratching their head. Did this dog give punishment or he gave reward? Lord Ramchandra said, let's ask this dog only. He will tell you the secret. So Lord Ramchandra, he turned to the dog. He said, my dear dog, please explain why you gave this particular punishment. Doesn't look like punishment, looks like reward. Right? Just imagine if somebody beats you and you say that make him president of the United States. That's a different thing. Sometimes we choose a president, he can take a stick and start beating you.
I don't think might want that.
But anyway, the dog explained that actually in previous life, I was a human being and I was the president of that temple, that matha. And my dear Lord, I was very much controlled of my senses. I was not so loose like him. But because a leader takes 1/6 of the pious as well as sinful deeds of his followers. So, know for sure, somebody who becomes president of country, he has 1/6 of pious as well as 1/6 of impious or sinful deeds go into the account of that president. Or Madhadish, or you can say even country's president or country's king. It's actually very much correlated. In ancient times, the kings used to take the income tax, which used to be 1/6 of their income, around 16 to 17%. King would charge that much income tax. That was the standard. Somebody is earning $100, they have to pay 16-17%. $16 on 100. Somebody is earning $1 million, he has to still pay 16% only. No difference. No different margins. Everybody was given same bracket. That was king's share. And people never used to feel, pinch of giving that 16%. Because in return, the king would protect, give them full protection. You don't have to spend money when you go to the court. You don't have to hire any, lawyer. No. No lawyer, no health insurance, no car insurance, no home insurance. The king used to take care of it in 16%. Just imagine. That's dharma. And in return, the king used to also take 1/6 of the pious as well as impious acts of the subjects he used to take on him. So the dog explained that because all the people in that matha, most of them they used to commit more sinful activity than pious activity. So in my share came more sins, and as a result of the sins of my followers, I have become dog in this life. So good luck to this person. So what he will become in next life. So becoming the leader is actually a very grave responsibility. People don't realize. One should be very careful before assuming such responsibility. And they also thought Sutta Goswami is Bahut, means very learned. Sutta Goswami was definitely very learned, and uh, being learned is actually, Chanakya says, a very beautiful proverb says, Swagrehe pujyate murkha, Swagrame pujyate prabhu, Swadeshi pujyate raja, Vidwan sarvatra pujyate. He says, fools are respected in their own home. Swagrehe pujyate murkha. A person who is a fool is very much adored, at the home. In the home, everybody has to adore, right? Because he's providing. So no matter what he is, they say, oh, you are very nice. And Swagrame Pujyate Prabhu. The leader of the village, he is actually adored or respected in the village. And a king may be respected in the entire country. But a learned man, wherever he goes, he is respected everywhere. And Prabhupada said, learned means a person who opens his mouth, he reveals that he is learned. If a person is well dressed, but he's a fool, people will not be able to detect him until he speaks. So speech actually detects a person whether he's learned or a fool. But the sages are actually glorifying Sutta Goswami, that he's Vriddha, he's Kulapati, and he's also very learned. So they're asking, please relate the message of Srimad Bhagavatam to us, which was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. And then Shaunaka Muni actually started glorifying, because before Sutta Goswami had glorified Shukadeva Goswami, right? Now Shaunaka Rishi is glorifying Shukadeva Goswami. He said, we want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. That Shukadeva Goswami who, when he was walking, after he was born, right? We discussed last thing. When he was born, without any putting in clothes, he just walked away. As soon as he came out from the womb of his mother, he started walking away. And Vyasdev was running behind him to hold him. That's, wait, my dear son, wait. You should at least accept Janyo, the Yajnapavi, because you're already 16 years old. 16 years is actually the last year. One should actually accept the Yajnapavi. After that, one becomes disqualified to actually even accept Yajnapavi. So, he said, he wanted to wait him. So when Shukadeva Goswami is walking without any clothing, 16-year-old boy, he's walking from a lake side where the young girls, beautiful girls, they were bathing without any clothing in the lake. And Shukadeva Goswami is young boy, walking without any clothing. But because he was so much absorbed in Brahman realization, his very look, even if he looked at anyone around, would actually indicate that he's actually in a different plane. He's absorbed in something, sublime. So when the girls saw him walking naked, they were absolutely unconcerned. Now the girls were without clothing, Shukadeva Goswami without any clothing, but girls did not feel any hesitancy. Oh, young boys walking in front of us naked. And they were without any clothing as well. They did not feel, they continued bathing. But because his father was also walking behind, whose great saint, Vyasdev, is the incarnation of Lord Narayan, right? But when he came that spot, the girls immediately got worried and they started, covering their body. They came out on the bank from the water, they started covering their body in great haste. Now just imagine, Vyasdev was much, much elder. He was like their father's age, right? And he's great sage also, completely in control of his senses. He's incarnation of Lord Narayan, of course, So when the girls started covering themselves, Vyasdev got amazed. He said, What's wrong with you girls? When my son, who's of your age, he was walking naked from here. You didn't care. But when you saw me, you started covering yourself. Can you please explain? And I'm of your father's age. So the gods actually explained that, my dear sage, your son, he is completely indifferent to all the objects or things of this world he sees. He sees everything, whether a stone or a person, he sees them of the same quality. In other words, he sees them made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. He doesn't differentiate. But you are in household life. You do differentiate. You know. So you do differentiate what is man, what is woman. So therefore, we have to respect that. And actually, the Vaishnava has explained in this regard. Shukdev Goswami, because he was a Nashtika Brahmachari, means he had absolutely no attraction to opposite sex. He was actually indifferent. So if you really want to understand who is actually a staunch or real Nashtika Brahmachari, you should ask the woman. They will know who is actually a Brahmachari. Simply by looking at the person, the way a man looks at the woman, that indicates whether a person is actually having the principle of brahmacharya or not. Whether a person is actually looking at the lusty intents or is looking at, pure intent. Only woman can tell you about any man. So the ladies could actually differentiate. And this is being spoken by Shwanakrishi about Shukdev Goswami. So Chanakrishi further started inquiring that because Shukdev Goswami was such a great transcendentalist, because he did not differentiate, in any way, and he would roam naked. So when he came to city of Hastinapur, because he's speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, so he has to come to the city of Hastinapur, right? So when he entered the city of Hastinapur, how was he recognized? Because just imagine if any naked person walking on the road, people will throw a stone at him, right? And that's what people used to do. The children and all the village people, they used to make fun of him. They used to when they see him walking naked, and some people even throw stones at him, So, or they would just make laugh and they make fun of him. This will come actually in the end of the first canto of Bhagavatam. As soon as Shukdev Goswami arrives, the children and other people, they were walking behind him, making fun of him, that you are walking naked. But when they saw all the great sages were bowing down to Shukdev Goswami, they realized, because these great sages, they could understand, these great sages are bowing down to him, that means he must be a great personality. Then they ran away. So Sutta Goswami, Shanakri is asking Sutta Goswami, when Shukdev Goswami entered into Hastinapur, how was he recognized? How he was received by people, everyone, all the sages and everyone. And he started actually glorifying another aspect of Shukdev Goswami. But Shukdev Goswami, because he is unattached to family life, the only way and means he would earn his livelihood is by begging. And when he goes to the homes of people, he would simply go at the time when they are actually milking the cows. People in ancient times used to be much more regulated. Especially in villages, if you go now also, you see they milk the cows in the morning and evening at a very particular time. I remember in New Vrindavan used to do that. You can actually predict if I go at this time to Goshala, the milk will be there because we must have finished milking the cows. And even if I sometime wanted to milk the cows, I knew what time I have to go. If I reach little late, the cow are already milked. So, Shukdev Goswami would go to the homes of people when they are milking the cows. and they will literally fill the glass, only this much glass. It will take 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes to fill the glass, milking the glass. And they would give to Shukdev Goswami. He would stand at their doorstep only for that duration, for 2 minutes. As soon as they fill the glass, he will take the glass and go away. So, Shaunak Rishi is glorifying. He says Maharaj Parikshit, he was also a great devotee. He's a great Mahabhagavad himself. So, because previously, Shuddha Goswami described that Parikshit Maharaj, he sat down to fast till death to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Shuddha Goswami. So, Shaunak Rishi is amazed that Parikshit Maharaj is a great king and he's also great Mahabhagavad, great Vaishnava. So, Vaishnavas, they don't have Falgu Vairagya. They have what you call is Yukta Vairagya. There are two things, Yukta Vairagya and Falgu Vairagya. Rupa Goswami has actually defined very beautifully the definition of both Yukta and Falgu Vairagya. So, Yukta Vairagya is, look at how it starts. That's the definition of Falgu Vairagya. And what is the definition? How does that start? I'm forgetting the words. So anyway, it says anything that can be, that is in relationship to Krishna and that can be used in Krishna's service. Anasaktasya vishaya yatha na upayunjata mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam yukta vairagyam uchita. So, anasaktasya vishaya, that means you are not attached. Anasaktasya vishaya, you may accept a vishaya. Vishaya means objects of sense enjoyment. Like for my eyes, I like to see the beautiful things. So you may accept the beautiful things, but only for the service of Krishna, without attachment. And Falgu Vairagya is when you try to reject everything without knowing its connection with Krishna. So this Falgu actually, this Falgu Vairagya is a very interesting term. Then you know what is Falgu? Name of the river. Name of the river. Name of the river. In Bihar, in Gaya, city of Gaya, you heard, right? There's a river that flows by the name Falgu. It has a very interesting history. When Lord Ramchandra was in the exile for 14 years, right? So that time Lakshman, Ram and Sita, all three came to a forest on the bank of Falgu river. Okay. That time used to be a full-fledged river, flowing nicely. So it was the time of offering oblation to ancestors. Lord Ramchandra wanted to offer, Shraddha ceremony for his ancestors. So he and Lakshman, they went to collect some, because in the forest what you can get? You cannot get, different food stuff and all. You can get only fruits and roots and some flowers. So Lord Ramchandra and Lakshman, they went to actually collect some fruits, roots and flowers to perform Shraddha ceremony. In the meantime, Maharaj Dashrath, his soul appeared in front of Sita Devi and he demanded, offer me something now. And Sita got a little confused, they have gone to collect the paraphernalia. But whatever she had, she started offering that to Maharaj Dashrath. And because she's performing Shraddha ceremony, just imagine, Shraddha is supposed to be done by the son, but the son is gone. So daughter-in-law is performing Shraddha now. Right? She's actually offering to Dashrath Maharaj, who had appeared in front of her. So she collected, I believe, four different, five different witnesses that you see I am performing Shraddha. So when Lord Ramchandra comes, I will call you for, witness. So five witnesses were, one was a banyan tree, a cow, tulsi plant, a brahmana, and Falguni. So 5 witnesses he examined. So when Lord Ramchandra came and she told Lord Ramchandra, actually your father appeared and I performed Shraddha, so you don't have to perform Shraddha again. And Lord Ramchandra was a little skeptical. What? My father appeared and you performed Shraddha? Well, generally husband wife they have that kind of reference. Husband is sometimes with doubt, wife with doubt. So Lord Ramchandra, what? You performed Shraddha? And she said, yes, I'm not lying. I have 5 witnesses. So she called for the 5 witnesses. She called the Brahman. Brahman said, no, she didn't perform. And Sita said, what? I didn't perform. And then she turned to the cow. Cow said, no, she didn't perform. The cow also said she didn't perform. Hmm. And Mother Sita got really upset. What? You also say I did not perform. And then she turned to Tulsi plant. And Tulsi also said, no, she did not perform. And last, she asked Falgu River. Falgu River also refused. She said, no, she did not perform. And then Banyan Tree is the only one who said, no, no, she actually performed. You know. So Lord Ramchandra, he believed. One witness also is enough. Because the Lord Ramchandra accepted the Banyan Tree's witness. And that Banyan Tree, they say, it still exists. If you have been to Gaya, they show you that banyan trees. So they're on the bank of Falgu River. So it's called Akshay Ashwatha tree. Because Mother Sita gave him benediction that you will remain eternally. Even after the whole universe is destroyed, your banyan tree will not be destroyed. So she gave him the benediction. But she cursed the other four. So Falgu River she cursed, saying that from today on, because you spoken lie, okay, and said these 4 witnesses they spoke lie with the expectation that they will get to see Lord Ramchandra perform Shraddha ceremony. So she was Falgu River that from today onwards, your water on the surface will disappear. You will flow underground. So if you go to Falgu River, most of the time of the year, except the monsoon season, you will see it's only a sandy river. There is no water in it. But if you dig at least 2 or 3 feet below the surface, then you will see the water actually flowing. So on the surface is only sand, but underneath there is water. So it appears that there is no water, but actually there is water going on. So therefore, Vairagya means it appears on top that there is Vairagya, but internally a lot of activity going on. The person is thinking, okay, tomorrow is the Ekadashi, but I can maybe I can feeling thirsty, so when I go and shower, I'll drink little water. Nobody will know. So that kind of Falgu Vairagya. So the Parikshit Maharaj, he was not a Falgu Vairagi. He was a great Vaishnava, Mahabhagya. And he was an excellent king. So if he's an excellent king, he's a great Vaishnava, he should perform his duty well, right? Like Lord Krishna told Arjuna, don't think of going to forest. You are a king, you are a Kshatriya, your duty is to protect the citizens. So you should perform that duty. And Arjuna did that, right? He didn't go to forest. So how is it that Parikshit Maharaj, he retired at the young age and sat on the bank of river Ganga to fast till death? Why is to do that? He is a good king. It is his duty to protect the citizens. So his body was actually an instrument of protecting so many citizens. Right? He was ruling the whole world. So Shanapashi got really amazed at why Parikshit Maharaj had to do this. He's a great Mahabharata, so he shouldn't be doing such a thing. So we want to know please describe to us why did Parikshit Maharaj sit down on the bank of Ganga to fast till death and to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? And how did Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami meet? Hmm. So, Sutta Goswami begins answering this. So now, from now onwards, the entire first canto is nothing but answering these questions. How did Parikshit and Shukdev meet? And why did have Parikshit Maharaj had to leave home and sit on the bank of river Ganga to fast till death and hear Srimad Bhagavatam? So this entire first canto from here onwards is answer to this question. The previous question, please narrate to us different incarnations will come from second canto onward. But this is now first canto entirely answer to this question. Okay. So he also asked that, okay, Shukdev Goswami learned Bhagavatam, but what was the reason for Bhagavatam being even compiled in first place? Okay, Parikshit Maharaj heard from Shukdev Goswami, but why did even Vyasdev compile this Srimad Bhagavatam and teach to his son Shukdev? What was the need for it? How this idea came about that there should be Bhagavatam compiled? There should be a book called Bhagavatam. What was the need? How this inspiration came upon? So please narrate that to us. So two questions maybe. What was the idea? Why the Bhagavatam's idea came about? Who compiled it? Why he compiled? And secondly, what are the reason Parikshit Maharaj, he decided to fast till death and hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukdev Goswami? How their meeting took place. So, Sutta Goswami actually starts describing. He says, the birth of Vyasdev, first of all, he describes that Vyasdev was born when on the 28th Yuga cycle in the Vyavasvata Manu, there was interchanging of the second and third yugas. So generally, the cycle of the yugas was first is Satyuga, then there is Dwapar Yuga, then Treta Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. Okay. So Dwapar, Satyuga, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali. First Satyuga, second is Dwapar, third is Treta Yuga, and fourth is Kali Yuga. But in the 28th cycle, so the Goswami described, there was a reverse in order. That means after Satyuga, instead of Dwapar, Treta Yuga came first. And then Dwapar came. And then Kali comes. So he said, during that Yuga cycle, when there was the interchange between Dwapar and Treta Yuga, Vyasdev appeared towards the later Sandhya of Dwapar Yuga. So every Yuga also has a Sandhya. Sandhya means what? Like in the morning when you get up, if you get up before sunrise, you see the night is being transformed into day. Slowly and gradually, right? Light is transforming into day. So that is called Sandhya. And again, now in the evening, you see the day is transforming into the night. The light is slowly going away and becoming dark. So this is also called Sandhya. So morning Sandhya and evening Sandhya. So similarly, every Yuga also has the beginning Sandhya and the ending Sandhya. So the Goswami explained that Vyasdev was born at the ending Sandhya of Dwapar Yuga. That means when Dwapar is about to finish, that time Vyasdev appeared. And he appeared in which Dwapar Yuga? In the 28th cycle of the 7th Manu, Vyavasvata Manu's period. That's when Vyasdev appeared. So one day Vyasdev was sitting in his ashram, in Badrika ashram. He had his bhajan puri in Badrika ashram. He was sitting in his hermitage, in his hut, and he could see the anomalies that people had actually started not properly following their duties. That means people are neglecting their duties. So he started seeing those anomalies. So just imagine, if you see, for example, uh, High Court judge, he started doing the job of a clerk or a doctor, you know, he gives up his profession as a doctor and, he takes the job of a clerk. So these are, and one may wonder that, why this person has to do like this. But sometimes this happens um, due to the influence of time. Sometimes it happens that people tend to neglect their own duties. Like, when man and woman get married, right? So all of a sudden a man decides, okay, I don't want to maintain my wife and children. He just walks away from the home. That's a neglect of duty, right? That we may get to see a lot nowadays, but it was not so common in previous age. So Vyasdev started seeing such anomalies that people are neglectful of their duties. So he started wondering that what's happening. And he could see, because he has a divine vision also, he could see the deterioration of everything that was material in nature. Spiritual things, they are not influenced by the influence of time. But anything that is material, it does get influenced by time. Our body is material, it gets influenced by time. Okay. The building made of matter, it also gets influenced by time. So everything that is material does get influenced by time. And spiritual things, of course, they don't get influenced by time. So Vyasdev, he could see, that because of the force of time, everything is deteriorating. And people in general, they have reduced the duration of life, and they would also be impatient due to the mode of passion. Passion makes you more and more impatient. So people will not have patience to even follow the duties of their, regular life course throughout their life. That's what we see nowadays, right? People, after some time, they start feeling bored. Oh, you know, ladies may feel bored. I have to cook every day, And the husband may feel bored. I have to go to office every day, right? So, and a person who is a gentleman or gentlewoman, even though they may be bored, they still continue to do that as a duty. They perform their duty, that this is my responsibility, I have to do it. But those who are irresponsible, those who are not gentle, they just walk out from the duties. They don't care. So, Vyasdev could see that people would actually be impatient. So previously there used to be only one Veda. Vyasdev, he divided into 4 Vedas. The same one Veda used to prescribe the duties for Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudra. But Vyasdev, he divided them into 4 different parts. One for especially Brahmanas, one for Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudra. In this way, he divided the 4 Vedas. Not that Vedas were meant for Shudras or different category, but they prescribe the duties of the different Varnas. Okay? In previous Shudra would never read Vedas, but they would only take instruction from Brahmanas. So, Vyasdev, he had many disciples. So, he started teaching these different Vedas and Vedic literature to different rishis. So there was some instance he gave Rigveda to Paila Rishi and Samaveda to Jaimini, Yajur to Vaishampayana, and Atharvaveda to Sumantu. Sumantu Muni. Puranas he gave it to Romashan Sutta, the father of Sutta Goswami. So in this way, he distributed all the Vedic literature which he had compiled already. So he edited the Vedas, he compiled the Puran, 17 Puranas, he had compiled the Vedanta Sutra, he had compiled Ityas like Mahabharata. You know. So he taught it to different disciples. But in spite of compiling all these literature, he was still not happy in the mind, not satisfied at the heart. So because he saw people were, not following their duties properly, therefore he actually compiled all this literature. Mahabharata, and Puranas, four Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, he compiled all of this in order to uplift people, to help them to learn these Vedic literature, understand their duties and perfect their lives. But he was himself not satisfied. Now, this is a very wonderful lesson. You see, sometimes people they come and they tell us, "Oh, you are reading Bhagavad Gita, you are reading Bhagavatam. What about Vedas? You don't you teach Vedas?" Actually, one of Prabhupada disciple in Arthur, he was saying once that he was in India, in South India, there was some ISKCON temple, Prabhupada had started some temple. So one person, he met outside the temple, that person was smoking. So Guru went inside the temple, and this person he finished smoking, and then he came to the temple. So this person, South Indian, so he asked this Arthur Guru, "Oh, you people teach Bhagavad Gita? Don't you teach Vedas?" So Arthur said, "No, we don't teach Veda, we don't teach Bhagavad Gita. So we teach people why not to smoke." Because smoke is injurious to your health. So sometimes you see people, so foolish, they don't even know what is good and what is bad for them. And they talk about Vedas. Right? Don't you teach Vedas? Srila Bhakti Thakur gave a very beautiful example in this kitab. He says, there was a British officer, and he had a Bengali friend. So one day he told his Bengali friend, "My dear friend, do you know, I've heard about a fruit, a tropical fruit, jackfruit." And he said, "Yeah, I know jackfruit. We have a tree, in our backyard, a jackfruit tree." He said, "I want to eat jackfruit. I heard that's very delicious." He said, "Okay, you come tomorrow. I will feed you jackfruit." So next day, the British officer goes to the Bengali friend's home. And his Bengali friend, he had, nice jackfruit decorated in a place with some honey and some nuts also on top of it. And he says, "Okay, here, take some jackfruit." And he says, "No, this is not jackfruit. I've heard about jackfruit. It's green, thorny from outside, very sticky from inside." So his friend said, "Yeah, this is same jackfruit." "No, no, but where is green? Where is thorns? Where is sticky?" He said, "I removed all the nonsense. I'm giving you the essence. This is jackfruit. And everything that you talk about green, thorny, and sticky, that's all nonsense. You don't eat that. So I removed that and I've given you only jackfruit." "No, no, I want to eat that jackfruit." So similarly, some people they will say, "No, no, Bhagavad Gita, how about Mahabharata? Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, right? So why should we should eat Mahabharata also?" But nonsense, Mahabharata had a lot of politics and everything else. Here, Bhagavad Gita is giving you only essence that you need. So, sometimes people, they feel mesmerized for the Vedic scripture. We want to read Veda, we want Upanishad. Have you read this Upanishad, that Upanishad? You don't need it. Because the person who compiled them was not happy after compiling them. If he is not happy, what is the guarantee that you will have any happiness? Right? So this is very crucial lesson to understand. If Vyasdev, the compiler of Vedas and Upanishads and Puranas, he himself was not happy after compiling all of them, where the possibility that we will have the happiness. So there's no point in wasting our time. So Vyasdev was feeling very morose at heart. And because he is Lord Narayan himself, so he started contemplating that why I'm not feeling satisfied. It's maybe because I have not pointed out devotional service to the Supreme Lord. I have spoken so many, things. I have written the Puranas, I have written the Vedas, I have written the Upanishads. But because I have not exclusively glorified the Supreme Lord, maybe because of that I'm not happy. But he was still thinking, maybe because of that I'm not happy. He has still doubt. When he's thinking like that time Narada Muni arrives in Badrika Ashram. And Narada Muni is Guru for Vyasdev. He is the spiritual master of Vyasdev. So Vyasdev, he immediately stood up and he greeted his Guru Narada Muni. He washed his feet and offered him proper respects. And after Narada was seated nicely, you know, Vyasdev actually started inquiring. Actually, before he started inquiring, because Vyasdev was appearing morose, Narada Muni started sarcastically, inquiring from Vyasdev. Because sometimes spiritual master, the guru, he can see through you, and he can point out, the flaw or mistakes in you. I remember many years ago, I was serving my spiritual master, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, as personal servant. So, one time, actually, he was taking some treatment from some Ayurvedic physician. So, every day we used to drive from Mira Road to go to the doctor's clinic, and it used to take almost like an hour. A clinic was in one of the suburbs of Mumbai called Malad area. So, there used to be one devotee family, they were disciples of Maharaj. They used to live in Mira Road. So one day in the morning, because I used to go with Maharaj every day in the car for his treatment. So one day this couple called me, this Prabhuji called me and he said, I was brahmachari that time. So he said, Shankran Prabhu, can you ask Maharaj, because he comes to Malad every day anyway for treatment, if he can come to my home tomorrow for breakfast? So I said, well, I'll ask him, but what you will give me in return? Sometimes, he was a friend to me, very good friend of mine. So I said, what will you give me in return? And he knew that time that, Brahmachari were always eager to have books. And I was especially looking for one volume Srimad Bhagavatam. In those days, we used to have one volume Bhagavatam. The entire, all 10 cantos in one book. It used to be published in Singapore. That was a very costly book. It was like, in those days, it was around 7 to 8,000 rupees. It was a big amount. So he said, if you tell me, then I will give you one volume Srimad Bhagavatam. I said, hold on. What do you say? One volume Bhagavatam you will give me. What if Maharaj says no? He said, okay, even Maharaj says no, I will still give you. So you just let me know, yes or no, whether Maharaj will come or not. I thought, wow, this is golden, right? All I had to do is ask Maharaj, and Maharaj will say yes or no, right? Finished. So my Bhagavatam book is guaranteed now. So, in the next day morning, we're getting ready, and the car came, and I asked Maharaj, Shinam from this devotee was asking if you would like to go to his home for prasad. And I was eager now. Maharaj would say yes or no. And I just called the devotee. And Maharaj said, I don't know. And I never imagined this answer in my dreams. Right? I'll say, Maharaj will say yes or no, right? And Maharaj said, I don't know. And I was shocked. So anyway, we sat in the car. It was a 1 hour journey. So when we reached the clinic, I was getting restless. I said, Maharaj, did you decide? And Maharaj said, what? Where you will go to this devotee's home for prasadana? Maharaj said, I already told you. I don't know. And I was thinking, oh no, my God. At least say yes or no, Maharaj. Why you have to say this? So anyway, we went inside the clinic and there was a little queue. So Maharaj was sitting outside for almost half an hour. Because once Maharaj goes to the treatment, he'll be gone for a couple of hours. So I'll be just sitting outside. So after half an hour, when it was time for Maharaj to go inside, I said, Maharaj, did you decide something about going to this devotee's home? Maharaj said, I've been told you, I don't know. Same reply. And he went away. And almost after 2 hours he came. And now I was very restless. I said, I need to tell devotee yes or no today only. So when Maharaj came after 2 hours, now it's almost 12 o'clock, lunchtime, right? I said, Maharaj, did you decide now whether you will go to this devotee's house for prasad or no? Maharaj said, how many times I have to tell you same thing? I told you, I don't know. I said, Maharaj, at least you say yes or no. I need to tell this devotee and he'll give me one volume Bhagavatam. And Maharaj said, what? He said, your service is fruitive. And I said, yes, Maharaj, I am aspiring for the ripened fruit of all the Vedas. Nigama kalpataro, dalitam phalam. So Maharaj laughed and he said, it is still fruitive. So spiritual master, his duty is to point out the mistakes. If you are doing something wrong, the Guru has to actually point out that you are doing something wrong. So Narada Muni, in a very joking and sarcastic way, said, my dear Prabhu, telling Vyasdev, my dear Vyasdev Prabhu, you have compiled so many scriptures, right? You have compiled Mahabharata for the, even, less intelligent class of people. You have compiled Vedas. You have divided Vedas into the four parts, four different Vedas. And you have compiled the Puranas also. You have compiled Vedanta Sutra. Why you are still not feeling happy? I still see your morals. And Vyasdev, he understood that the King Narmani was sarcastic in his remarks. And he told Narada Muni that, my dear Gurudev, my dear sir, yes, what you're saying is correct. I have compiled all these scriptures, but I still have no satisfaction in the heart. You are actually born from the body of Brahma, who is self-born. But Brahma is not born from material father and mother. He is born directly from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So he said, you are born from the self-born. Narada, you are Gurudev, you are actually born from the body of Brahma, who was born directly from the body of Lord Narayan. So you can penetrate even the innermost region, that is heart of a living entity, because you are a spiritual master. You can actually know the hearts. Like we were discussing last week also, right? How Prabhupada could actually know the heart. So the spiritual master can actually know the heart. So he actually started glorifying that you can actually penetrate the inner regions of the heart. And therefore you know that I'm dissatisfied. Please tell me the root cause of my dissatisfaction. So Narada Muni actually started speaking to Vyasdev that, my dear Vyasdev, you have encouraged people to engage in sense gratification through the teaching of the Vedas. Because if you leave Srimad Bhagavatam aside, if you take the four Vedas mainly talk about dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So dharma, follow the scriptural duties for the sake of artha, so that you can become prosperous, and prosperity you can utilize for sense enjoyment, kama. And when you get frustrated from, sense enjoyment, then you can try for moksha, getting liberation from this world. Okay. So these are the four purusharthas in Vedas, the four goals described in the Vedas. So people generally, they are fond of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. I should follow dharma so that I should become prosperous. And nowadays people think, if I can get prosperity by cheating or by different crooked means, I don't need to follow dharma. But people don't realize, if you don't follow dharma and you get prosperity, that prosperity will not allow you to enjoy. That prosperity will bring tremendous suffering. If you accumulate the prosperity through dharma, then you will be able to enjoy. Then you will be actually happy. Then you will have sufficient sense gratification, satisfactory sense gratification. But if you accumulate the artha without dharma, then you will suffer. In spite of having prosperity, you will suffer. You will not be able to enjoy. This is what it of Lord Ramchandra also. He told Lakshmana. Because Lakshmana was telling Lord Ramchandra, let's arrest, Dashrath Maharaj, put him in the prison, and you become the king. Lord Ramchandra said, no, I will not do adharma. And he told Lakshmana, my dear Lakshmana, if you accumulate the wealth, you get the wealth and prosperity by following adharma, then people around you will become envious of you. But if you collect or accumulate the artha or prosperity through following dharma, then people will be around you happy. They will not be envious of you. So you know for sure, if somebody is prosperous and people are envious around him, that means somebody has neglected to follow dharma. So Narad Muni actually pointing out the fault, he said, my dear Prabhu, you have encouraged people to follow dharma so that they can accumulate artha. And that will help them to engage in kama and moksha. But that does not satisfy the soul. So they are anyway inclined for sense enjoyment, and you are encouraging them, okay, here, through Vedas you can do sense gratification. So, this attitude of yours to encourage people through the Vedas to do sense gratification is condemned. It's not really praiseworthy. And that is the reason why you are not happy. You have compiled so much literature, but you are not happy because you have not glorified the devotional service. You have not glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Narad Muni actually speaks some of the very beautiful verses, which are very famous and very instructive. He says, you have compiled this literature to encourage sense gratification. And this literature is condemned. But on the other hand, the literature which is actually compiled, even if it is not grammatically perfect, but which is glorifying the Supreme Lord, that literature is very much accepted and honored by saintly Vaishnavas. He says, Nayat vachaschitra padam hare yisho, jagat pavitram pranita karinchil, namani nantas yashomtani, shramanti gayanti, vrinhanti sadhava. Sadhava, sadhus, they actually accept that literature, which is even improperly composed, had a lot of grammatical errors, but which is glorifying Krishna. They accept it. On the other hand, the literature, which is perfectly, there's no grammatical errors, but does not have any devotional service or any glorification of the Supreme Lord. That literature is like the place of pilgrimage for crores. Nayat vajas chitra padam harivishu. Jagat pravitram pranit karichu. Tad vayasam tirtham. Tushanti manasa. Tad vayasam tirtham. Tad vayasam tirtham means holy place, the tirthasthan. And vayasam means crores. So he says, the literature which is not glorifying Krishna is like a holy place of crows. Now, where do you see crows assembled? What is the holy place for crows? Big garbage pile. You will see a lot of crows assembled there, right? So the garbage pile is the holy place for crows. Na yatra hamsa. You will never see hamsa in the garbage. You will see a lot of crows in the garbage, right? So similarly, literature which does not glorify the Supreme Lord, foolish people who are like crow mentality, they will be very much delighted in that literature. And then he also speaks, Tadvad Sargo Janata Prabhu. Yasmin Prati Shlokam Avadvati. So in this way, actually, Narada Muni is glorifying the, the process of devotional service. And finally, instructs also to Vyasdev. He says, my dear Vyasdev, if a person Taktva Sudharma Charana Bhujam, if a person actually whose bhajan, whose devotional service is very immature, and somehow he gives up everything and takes to the process of devotional service. Okay? He gives up all his worldly duty and he takes to the process of Krishna consciousness. And unfortunately, he does not even perfect Krishna consciousness. And after some time practicing, he again gets attracted to worldly things. Tattva sudharmam charanam bhuyam hari. Bhajan apakpo athapatit tato yadi. Because his bhajan is apakwa, his bhajan is immature, he again gets attracted to the worldly things. But still, there is no loss for such a person. Yatra bhadra, there is no inauspiciousness for such a person. On the other hand, a person who is properly following his duties but does not perform devotional service, that person is very condemned because there is no future guarantee of such a person. That person can even sink to the hellish condition of life. And of course, then he instructs to Vyasdev, your vision is perfect. By your power of meditation, you can actually look into the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So use your power of meditation into compiling this Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, then he goes into detail giving instructions to Vyasdev, that you should try to compile this Srimad Bhagavatam, because this will give you proper satisfaction. And this is actually precisely the cause of your dissatisfaction. And then Narada Muni goes into describing the power of devotional service through his own example. So that will continue next week. So Narada Muni is telling his own story now. That how, by the process of devotional service, I, from the son of a maid servant, from the son of a Shudrani, I became Narada. So that will be described by Narada Muni through his own example. So that we'll discuss, we'll continue next week. So I think we'll stop here. If anyone have any reflections or questions.
Shukdev Goswami's Brahma Gyan, is it the same as the Brahmavati philosophy? Brahmavati philosophy?
Yes, he was a Brahmavadi, but there's a difference between Brahmavadi and Mayavadi. Okay. So he was the Brahmavadi, he was not Mayavadi. Brahmavadi means people who are very much attracted to the Brahman aspect of the Supreme Lord. No? And they prefer to meditate on the Brahman aspect. So Shukdev Goswami was a Brahmavadi, self-realized soul.
I think he's describing Lord Krishna. He's describing Lord Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead.
They want?
Shukdev Goswami is also describing Krishna.
So he was a Brahmavadi before, and as soon as he was born, he was a Brahmavadi. But then his father Vyasdev tricked him. We discussed last week, right? He was running away from his home, and Vyasdev was running behind him, right? Calling him out, my dear son, please stop, my dear son, please stop. So he did not stop, he just went on. So Vyasdev, he used a trick. He knew that my son is actually a Brahmavadi. He's a self-realized soul. So he's very pure at heart. A person who's very pure at heart, if he hears the glories of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, he'll be very much attracted. Because he's very pure at heart, right? Impure people may not get attracted, but pure people, they will naturally get attracted to Krishna or Krishna's glories. So he sent one of his disciples. He specially taught him 2 verses from Bhagavad, 10th canto of Bhagavad, 2 verses. And he told the disciple, go and recite these 2 verses in front of my son. So, when the disciple of Vyasdev went and he recited these 2 verses, Shukdev Goswami was completely attracted. Wait, who is this person we are describing about? I want to hear more. So then he said, you come with me, my Guru will teach you. So he actually followed the disciple of Vyasdev and he brought him to Vyasdev. And that's when Vyasdev actually taught him the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to Shukdev Goswami. Make sense? Want to add something, Bhavani?
Two questions from lots of questions that I'm going to ask you.
Sure, go ahead.
Some from last week actually.
Okay.
So last week it was mentioned. I was just curious, who is Vyasdeva's wife? The name never came in any of the scriptures.
Actually, I had noted the name, Vyasdev's wife name. I had noted in my notes. I don't remember now.
You mentioned in the class.
I mentioned, I think,
He
also.
opened her mouth and then the
Yeah, that's what you mentioned, but I missed that last week. Had that. I don't know. I don't remember if you mentioned the name, but yeah, I think it can go.
Yeah, I have somewhere in my notes, but I'll find out.
And this also, when I read Bhagavatam also in one of the other classes also, I had this question. You mentioned that the yoga cycle, normal yoga cycle is Satya, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali. But in 28th yoga cycle of Vaivasvata, it was Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali.
Yes.
But we say that the order that Satya has 4 times Kali Yuga duration, Treta is 3 times, Dwapar is 2 times, and Kali Yuga is basically 432,000 years. So is the order like that? Means first comes Satya, which is also called Treta, which is the 4 times of the duration of Kali Yuga, and then 2 times, and then 3 times is, it didn't make sense to me.
So it's only in this cycle it happened like that. So Treta Yuga is 3 times. Generally, Dwapar will be 3 times.
But the names are weird.
No,
That's how I remembered these yugas. Kali is 1, Dwa is Dwapar, Treta 3 times, and Satya is also called Treta. So it is 4 times. So I don't know. That's what
that's a very
I had a dilemma.
That's a very interesting question, though.
I had a dilemma there, so I just wanted to. I have been carrying this for some time.
Okay, so my understanding of Dwapar, and Treta is Dwa is second in order. Treta is third in order.
Okay. That also It's
Dwa and Treta. And Kali. So Kali, then Treta, then Dwapar, and then Satyuga. I can say another order Satyuga, then Dwapar, then Treta, and then Kali. So whether the Dwapar comes before or Treta comes before, so whichever comes before will have 3 times of Kali Yuga. So because in this particular cycle, Treta Yuga was the second in order, in Dwapar is the third in the order. So naturally their duration is changed. And similarly, the principle of dharma will also be dwindling in that order. So the Satyuga will have 100%.
second, whatever.
Second, whichever comes, will have 1/3 dharma gone. Then third will have half of dharma principles gone, and then Kali Yuga will
So only the
Important
name
thought.
change, only the name change.
name changes. But name changes means also there will be Yuga Dharma change. Yuga Dharma will also change because this Yuga Dharma is connected with Yuga.
So that was 20th Yuga cycle, right? So we are currently also wearing 20th Yuga cycle.
We are in 20th Yuga cycle.
So it happens only once.
Once in Real Dharma.
Once only.
So that indicates, that marks the special time when the Supreme Lord, the source of all incarnation, Krishna, appears in this Lord.
Kind of middle of the day, or
Yeah,
almost after.
almost the middle of the day of the Yes.
Is it 20th or 28th?
28th.
Wait.
So, Vyasdev's wife was Vatika.
Vatika, okay, yeah.
What's the name?
Vatika.
Vatika or what? Vatika.
Vatika, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Mentioned that there is only first was just one Veda, and Vyasdev divided them into 4. And so, did he do that particularly to explain the duties of each of the varnas?
Yes. That's what Srila Prabhupada mentions, that he divided one Veda, which was actually originally Yajur Veda. He divided into 4 Vedas, and Rig, Sam, Yajur, and Atharva Veda. And each one describes the duty of one Varna.
So each Veda will have that particular varna's duties only,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
okay.
Some Veda is also considered as the songs or the
Yeah.
what it was, stuti of the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
Some
It's been, that's right.
poet, yeah.
Yeah.
Poet.
So usually this is 28th cycle,
Yes.
Vyalan. So in which cycle the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the same 28th cycle or different?
Ramayana happened, as I said before also, right? 14 million years ago, that is 3 Dwapar Yugas before. So in last 3 Dwapar Yugas, there have been no Rama Avatar. Last time Rama Avatar happened, 3 Dwapar Yugas, 3 Treta Yugas before. So yeah, you can say 25th or maybe 24th. I think. This is 28th, right? So 27, 26, 28th, yeah, 25th. Mahabharata happened just 5,000 years ago.
So
28 something years. Yes, ma'am.
in one of our beginning classes, we mentioned that the Bhagavatam kicks out all cheating religions. So when you explain to the rest why he actually wrote it versus the other books, is that what they're referring to? Is the other Puranas and the other books? Because it's not glorifying the one. So it's like, and then that's what is the actual substance of it.
Yes. So that's what actually Nagmuni also explained here, right? Vyasdev, that you have simply encouraged people to engage in some education. So this is kind of a cheating religion, you can say. Yes. So this kind of cheating propensity is only there in every human religion. So now when you are saying you don't have to encourage or fan that cheating propensity. So yes, that's true. Cheating religion is kicked out right from very beginning. Anyone online has any questions?
Yeah, I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you have the courage to ask your Guru Maharaj that question again and again? You were so persistent.
The eagerness to get the book.
Did you got the book?
No, because I couldn't, right? Somebody else gave, but that devotee, because I couldn't, right? Confirm. Till end Maharaj said, I don't know. Huh?
Did you go for?
No, he didn't go. Yes, ma'am.
Was there any characters by Sitamakar?
Sorry.
When they characters by Sitamakar?
Oh, yes. Was there any curse for Mother Sita, by Mother Sita to cow and Brahmana and Tulsi? Falgu river, she gave curse, right? That you will be running dry on surface. So, to the Brahmins, she gave curse that in this province of Gaya, the Brahmins will never be satisfied. You will always be greedy. So, if you go to Gaya, till this day, Brahmana may be earning fabulous amount of money, but they are never happy. If you are living in Gaya as a Brahmana, you will never be happy. You will always be greedy for more and more money, but you will still never be happy. That's a curse of Mother Sita on Brahmins in Gaya. Not all the Brahmins, but only in special in Gaya. And to the cow she gave curse. What was the curse? I forget. What curse she gave the cow? Oh, I forgot. To Tulsi she gave curse that the dog will be urinating on you. Whenever the dog you see, if dog is roaming around, if he sees Tulsi plant, he will go and urinate on Tulsi. Specifically. And she also gave curse to Tulsi that you will never flourish in this province of Gaya. So Gaya, especially Tulsi, is very difficult to grow. Doesn't flourish it. And to cow, I don't remember. Let me see if I have any notes. What curse she gave to. I'm not able to find. Yeah. I don't know what curse. I don't remember what curse she gave to cows. I will find out more later. Yes, ma'am.
In the end, you mentioned that verse, right, where you mentioned that if somebody is performing this all his duties, but he doesn't do devotional service, and in compared to someone who doing living his regular life, but performs some little here and there some devotional service, and his life is more perfect. You mentioned the verse, but I didn't see that verse.
Tattva Sudharmam Charanam Vijam.
157.
Oh, 157. Because I didn't see fourth canto, fourth chapter of.
Prabhuji went way beyond fourth chapter.
No, I think you will.
No, I went fifth chapter also.
Yeah, he went in fifth chapter. Where the verses he mentioned, that why is that is also fifth chapter.
There's also fifth chapter. Yeah.
That was other one is fifth chapter.
But the story part, the pastime part is still you finished at the end of fourth chapter.
No, he went beyond fourth.
Went beyond fourth chapter.
Almost middle of chapter.
I was about to ask that question because again I have very limited understanding of algorithms and what devotees do. You said towards the end that the person who follows a little bit of devotional service but falls back into worldly affairs, there is no loss for that person. But for a person who has followed the devotional service
But if he misses a process or something, then he goes on a hellish plan.
No, not a person who follows devotional service. The person who's following his worldly duties nicely,
Okay.
but does not engage in devotional service.
He goes into hellish plan.
Yeah.
But a person,
For him, there is no gain.
Oh,
That person can actually sink into the hellish plan.
I was a little confused on that. I said, why would that person go into hellish plan? So I probably didn't hear it. Yeah.
For worldly duties
Okay.
versus devotional service.
So what do you mean when you say there is no loss? Like, can you explain a little bit more about that? Say for the person who goes back into the worldly affairs.
Yes, that's
After
actually.
giving up. Yeah.
Because of the crunch of time, I didn't go into detail, but yes, that verse is one of the very beautiful verses of Bhagavatam. You know, and that also correlates with Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita as well. Krishna says, Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vaya. Krishna gives similar instruction in Bhagavad Gita. So what happens is, if somebody engaging in devotional service, okay, so devotional service is a spiritual activity which does not deteriorate with time. Okay, it's an eternal bank balance. So whatever I do in this lifetime, it becomes my eternal balance. Next life, suppose I did practice Krishna consciousness only 5% in this life. Next life, I start from 6%. Okay, so next life I again do 10% or 15% is accumulated, right? Third life, I start from 16%. But material life is what? I do PhD now. Next life I again begin from ABCD. Right? But in devotional life, that is not happening. Devotional life, Krishna says, Hriyate avasho hita. The person will be irresistibly attracted to devotional life, and he will have properly understanding. Even without hearing, he will have proper understanding of whatever he has done from previous life. Okay. So, spiritual life, whatever we are gaining is eternal. But material life, whatever we gain, at death is reset. Again, zero.
So even if that 1%, 2%, it doesn't go waste.
It
You
doesn't
still
go.
carry it forward into your next life
Exactly.
and start from there.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
not starting from 0%, you're starting from wherever you left in this life.
Exactly. Like you will be reading the story of Bharat Maharaj. He was very exalted. He became, almost the stage of bhava where, he was shedding tears remembering Krishna. He was having so much love for Krishna that he was shedding tears remembering Krishna. Okay? But in next life he became deer. But even as a deer, he remembered everything from the past life. So that's an advantage in devotional life. If a person practices Krishna consciousness, you'll be able to see distinct, if somebody, who has been practicing from many, many lifetimes, you can see in this lifetime. I remember in Mumbai, some devotees were doing Nagar Sankirtan. They posted a video. I just happened to see that video. So in Mumbai temple, Chabadi temple, devotees were doing some Nagar Sankirtan. There was one dog who was religiously following them every single day, going in Harinam with them. As soon as they start Nagar Sankirtan, the dog would appear. With a street dog, not a pet dog of anyone. Street dog, he would appear and he would accompany the devotee. They would go for half an hour Nagar Sankirtan. The devotees actually posted videos that this dog comes every single day with them for Nagar Sankirtan. That means you can know for sure this dog must be some devotee from past life. He has the attraction to holy name and he remembers. He cannot express to human beings, but you can see from the symptoms. Make sense?
Yeah, I must tell you, God really works in mysterious ways because I've been struggling with certain things. And this point that you made about no loss and, person. I've been wanting to ask that question to Anand Prabhuji. In fact, when I came this evening, I was sitting there alone going through the chat, the ISKCON chat, because I remember about a month or 2 months ago, Mataji, when she sends text messages every morning, about Prabhupada. And there was one thing, and I was searching for that quote from 2 months ago, because I wanted to ask clarification from Anand Prabhuji after the class, and you already answered. It's so interesting.
Mhm.
And this is why, that's why we are here, right? So because of past karma, now we are so much like in Krishna consciousness. Maybe in past life we have done something like devotion.
Yeah, you can say, and even if we haven't done, if somehow that we stick now, we are actually building our mind balance. That's for sure. Whether we did in the past or not, we don't know. But in this lifetime, we have full opportunity now to accumulate that. Yes.
So probably, as you said, that the person who is performing the duties of the materialistic life, like every person has so much responsibilities in the materialistic life. And some people, like we can say in the old age, they are not able to perform their like devotional services because of the health issues or anything else. But they are performing their duties because they are not able to get rid of their responsibilities. In that case, I mean, they will be going for the hellish kind of thing, or
No, I didn't say that they will definitely go to hellish. They can sink to hellish life, not that they will go to. If they do any mistakes, some serious mistakes in the performance of the deed, they will sink to hellish life. But if a devotee, even if he does some mistake, he doesn't go to hellish life. He will still be, given an opportunity to perfect his life and continue progressing in Krishna consciousness. So anyone who is in the path of Krishna consciousness, his future is bright. A person who is performing his duties very well, his future is uncertain. You really don't know what will happen to that person because he doesn't have devotional service. Devotional service is, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that's guaranteed. Trayate Mahato Bhagavad save the person from the greatest fear, which is actually to sink down to either hellish condition of life or to animalistic life, to go to the animal species of life. This one.
Yeah, in the second chapter, actually, those 2 verses, it says, because the purpose of human life is actually to surrender to Krishna. Because if we don't use that life for that purpose, then the verse says, Shamaeva Ikevu. In the second chapter, there are a couple of verses that Dharma Swanishta Punsa, Vishwaksena Tathasriya, Nopalaya Viridati, Shamaeva Ikevu. That even if we perform our dharma perfectly, means dharma means our duties, materialistic duties perfectly, but we cannot develop in whole life love for Krishna, or we cannot even give our time to Krishna or surrender to Krishna, then the whole life is just waste of time. We are just performing like what we say as, I'll say brutal word, like a donkey. Sorry to say that, but that's what scripture says.
On the other hand, if somebody develop love for Ganesh, so Durga, still it is the same thing.
Yeah, but that's what the Pumbi Vyasdev, Varnashrama Bhagasha, Swanishta Dharmasya, Samsiddhi, Haritosha.
Yeah.
So the actual success, Samsiddhi, by following the dharma, whatever we are doing, is working for Haritosha, means for satisfaction of Krishna Hari. And if we don't do that, then it is just a waste of life. It's very brutal truth. It seems so unpleasant when we hear that, because we think that our family, we have our duties towards them and everything. But that's what the Shastra says, and that's what Vyasdev has compiled after compiling all the things, because this is the essence of all the time.
there is Bhagavatam story also, right? That there is this king who I forgot his name. His son died, and then he was very
Maharaj. I hope that answers one question. Yeah, but you will stop it. Thank you very much for this. Thanks.
Very grateful, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.